Good day, everyone. You are welcome to today's class. So in today's class, we are going to be looking at simultaneous equation. And the aspect we are going to treat is one linear, one quadratic. So as you know, we have different types of equation. We have linear equations, we have simultaneous equation, we have quadratic equation. But the one we are going to be treating today is on simultaneous equations. So on simultaneous equation, we have different forms of simultaneous equation as well. So the first form is when the two equations given are both linear. But the one we are looking at is one linear, one quadratic equation under simultaneous equation. And to do this, as you know, we have different forms of quadratic equation. Like if you have the general form of quadratic equation is as squared plus bs plus c equals to 0. So where the highest power of unknown, which is x, is 2. So this is one form of quadratic equation. Also, if you have xy, let's say plus 4 equals to 0. This is another form of quadratic equation. You can see we multiply two unknowns together. So this is another form of quadratic equation. That is xy plus 4 equals 0. Or when we have as squared plus bs plus c equals to 0, where a, b, and c are constant. So that will lead us to today's topic, which is one linear, one quadratic. The first example says, the examples under this topic is solve the following pairs of simultaneous equations. So solve the following pairs of simultaneous equations. So the first one, we have xy minus 4 equals 0. So that's one of the equation. Then the second equation is 2x minus 5y minus 3 equals to 0. So if you look at this example 1, so the linear equation here is the second equation, which is 2x minus 5y minus 3 equals to 0. Simply because the highest power of unknown is 1. So that is 2x raised to power 1 minus 5y raised to power 1 minus 3 equals 0. So the linear equation in the first question is 2x minus 5y minus 3 equals to 0. While the quadratic part of the equation is xy minus 4 equals to 0. So the quadratic equation is the first one, while the linear equation is the second one. So that will be, that is from the topic given. So let's go to the solution. So the solution of the first question, that is number 1, xy minus 4 equals to 0. We call this equation 1. Then we have 2x minus 5y minus 3 equals to 0. We call this equation 2. And let me briefly explain this. Under simultaneous equation, one linear, one quadratic, we frequently use either substitution method or graphical method. But for the purpose of this class, I'm going to make use of substitution method. So I'm making use of substitution method to solve these simultaneous equations, one linear, one quadratic. And to do that, simply make one of the unknowns the subject of the formula from equation 1 or equation 2, any of the two equations. So you can make x or y the subject of the formula. So let me make from equation 1 now. I want to make one of the unknowns the subject of formula. So for me to make y the subject of formula, that means I need to get my x first. So making y the subject of formula, we have xy minus 4 equals 0. So this is from equation 1. Then making y the subject of formula, we have xy equals to 4. So transfer 4 to the other side. Then divide both sides by x. Divide this by x. So s in s1, s in s1. So we are left with y equals to 4 over x. So this is equation 3. So this is equation 3. Please, hope this one is clear. So let's move on. So we have y equals to 4 over x, which is equation 3. So you can, from the method using, which is substitution method, you can now see substitute 3 in equation 2. substitute equation 3 in equation 2. It means anywhere you see y in equation 2, you replace it with 4 over x. So we have equation 2 is 2x minus 5y minus 3 equals 0. Since we are substituting equation 3 in 2, it means we are going to replace y with, so 2x minus 5 and 2, replace y with 4 over x, so we have 4 over x minus 3 equals 0. So we now simplify, so 2x minus 5 times 4, this is just like 5 over 1. So 5 times 4, 20, all over 1 times x, and minus 3 equal 0. So the next thing to do is to clear this denominator by multiplying through by x. So if you multiply through by x multiplied by 2x, that is 2x squared, minus 20 multiplied by x all over x. So x we got x, we will be left with 20 minus 3 times x, that's 3x, then equals to x multiplied by 0 is 0. So the next thing to do is to rearrange. We have 2x squared minus 3x minus 20 equals to 0. So this will lead to, this leads to what? Quadratic equation. So we can now solve this quadratic equation either by formula method, factorization method, completing the square method, as the case may be. So we have, so let me go by the formula method. So let me go by the formula method. Say, let a equals to 1, b equals to minus 3, and c equals minus 20. So when you compare this with a squared plus b, so we have 2s squared minus 3s minus 20 equals to 0. So if you now compare this with general form of quadratic equation, which is as squared plus bs plus c equals to 0. So when you compare, next a equals to 2, b equals to minus 3, and c equals to minus 20. So since our unknown variable is x, so we are going to have x equals to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So this is the quadratic formula. So we have x to be equal to minus, b is minus 3, so we have minus 3, then plus or minus square root of minus 3 squared minus 4 into a, that is 2, then multiplied by minus 20 all over 2 times 2. So which is equal to minus times minus is plus over 3 plus or minus square root of minus 3 squared, that's 9, minus times minus plus 4 times 2, 8 times 20, 8 times 20, that is 320. Yes, 320. Then all over 4. So all over 4, 8 times 20. 160. So 160. So I got it.
I thought it's 120.
So sorry, the answer is 160. So after that, we are going to simplify further as x equals to 3 plus or minus square root of 169 all over 4. So we have x to be equals to 3 plus square root of 169, square root of 169, that's 13 all over 4. So we have x to be equals to 3 plus 13 over 4, or okay, we have minus from here, that is plus or minus. So we have 3 minus 13 all over 4. So we have x to be equals to 16 over 4 or minus 10 over 4. So x equals to 4 or x equals to minus 2f5, 2f2. that is 5 over 2. Then we have x to be equal to 4 or x equals to minus 2 whole number 1 over 2. So these are the values for the x. So we are going to go back to equation 3 because we have to to solve the equation, and from the equation we have x and y. So we can now see when x is equal to 4, or you can say put x is equal to 4 in equation 3. So let's make use of the equation 3 because y is already the subject of formula in equation 3. So when x is equal to 4 and equation 3 is y equals to 4 over x, which is 4 over 4, and 4 over 4 is what? 1. It means when x is 4, y is 1. Then to get the second value for y, put x equals to minus 5 over 2 in equation 3. So equation 3 is the same thing as y equals to 4 over x, so which is 4 divided by x is minus 5 over 2. So we have y equals to 4 over 1 multiplied by minus 2 all over 5. So which is minus 8 over 5. So minus 8 over 5 is minus 1 whole number 3 over 5. It means when y is when x is minus 5 over 2, y is minus 1 whole number 3 over 4. So to summarize your answer, you can just put it in the table like this. So this is x, this is y. It means when x is 4, y is what? Y is 1. And when x is minus 5 over 2, y is minus 8 over 5. So this is the solution to question number 1. So let's move to the second example. Example 2 says, so we are still using the same, we are still working under simultaneous equations, one linear, one quadratic. So the question 2 says 4x plus 2y equals to 8. That is the first part of the equation. Then the second part of the equation, 2x squared minus 3y squared equals 6. So if you look at the first equation is linear equation, while the second equation is quadratic equation. So we have one linear, one quadratic equation. So we have 4x plus 2y equals to 8. That's the first equation. So the first equation can become 4x over 2 plus 2y over 2 equals to 8 over 2. Because 2 is common. So we now have 2x plus y equals to 4. So we can call this equation 1. Then the second equation, which is the quadratic equation, we have 2x squared minus 3y squared equals to 6. So this is equation 2. I hope what I did there is very clear. So let's move on. So we can now check from equation 1 and 2. Equation 1 says 2x plus y equals to 4. Equation 2 says 2x squared minus 3y squared equals to 6. So it's better to make one of the unknowns the subject of the formula from the linear equation. Which is equation 1. So it's better to make one of the unknowns there the subject of the formula rather than from the quadratic equation. So from equation 1, so we have 2x plus y equals to 4. So let's make y the subject of formula. So we now have y equals to 4 minus 2x. So this is equation 3. You can now see put 3 in equation 2 and 2. So we put 3 in 2. It means anywhere we see y in equation 2, we replace it with 4 minus 2x. Sorry. So equation 2 says 2x squared minus 3y squared equals to 6. And what is x squared is still x squared minus 3 into the value for y is 4 minus 2x. Then we square it equals to 6. So we now have 2x squared minus 3 open bracket, then 4 minus 2x, then 4 minus 2x. So we write this 2 times because of the power of 2 here. So to open the bracket, which is equals to 6. So we now have 2x squared minus 3 open bracket, 4 times 4, 16. 4 times minus 2x, that's minus 8x, minus 2x times 4, minus 8x, minus times minus plus, 2x times 2x, that's 4x squared, then close the bracket equals to 6. So we now have 2x squared minus 3 into 16 minus 16x plus 4x squared equals to 6. So let's open the bracket with 3. So we have 2x squared minus 3 times 16, that's 48. That's 48. Minus times minus plus. So 3 times 16, that's 48x. Then plus 3, minus times plus, that's minus. 3 times 4, that's 12x squared equals to 6. So you can now connect the like terms. So we have 2x squared minus 12x squared plus 48x minus 48 minus 6 equals to 0. So we now have, okay, we have square there. That's 12x squared. So 2x squared minus 12x squared, that's minus 10x squared, then plus 48x, then minus 54 equals to 0. So we multiply through by minus. So we have 10x squared minus 48x plus 54 equals to 0. Take 2 is common, so we divide through by 2. So we have over 2, over 2, over 2, over 2. So which is 5x squared minus 24x plus 27 equals to 0. So this is our quadratic equation. So we can solve this using formula method or factorization method. So the equation becomes 5x squared minus 24x plus 27 equals 0. So I've told you we can make use of factorization method to solve this, or formula method or completing the square method. But in the first example, we made use of formula method. So let me use another method, which is factorization method. And the rule of the factorization method says, if you have the coefficient of x squared, you multiply the coefficient and the constant. So we have 5x squared multiplied by 27, which is 135 squared. So we now look for the two factors of 135 squared that will add up to minus 24. So we have 135. So 135 is this. So what's the first number that can go? So we have 3. 3 and 135, that's 45. 3 again, 3 and 45, 15. 3 and 15, 5. 5 and 5, 1. So what we just need here, we need two factors. So you can group this in two ways. So we have 3 times 3, that is 9. And we have 3 times 5, which is 15. So 9 times 15 will give us 135. But 9 plus 15 will give us 24. But we need minus 24. It means we are going to minus 9 will attract, 9 will attract minus, and 15 will attract minus. So minus 9 minus 15 will give us minus 24. But minus 9 multiplied by minus 15 will give us plus 135. So we now want to replace minus 24x as minus 9x, or you can say minus 15x and minus 9x. So this equation becomes 5x squared minus 15x minus 9x plus 27 equals 0. So equals 0. So we now group. The next step to do is to group. So we now have 5x squared minus 15x in bracket. So if you factor out minus, We are left with 9x. This plus will become minus. That is minus 27 equals to 0. So the common factor here is 5x. So 5x is common into 5x and 5x squared. We are left with x minus 5 and 15, 3, s and s 1. So minus 9s and 27. The common factor is 9. So we are left with x minus 3 equal 0. So you can see we have the same value inside the bracket. So to factor out one of s minus 3, we have s minus 3 and 5x minus 9 equal 0. So you can now say either s minus 3 equals 0 or 5x minus 9 equals 0. So we have x equals 3 or s equals 9 over 5, which is one whole number 4 over 5. So these are the values of x. So you can now go back to equation 3 to get the values of y. So put s equals to 3 in equation 3. So equation 3 is what? That is y equals to 4 minus 2x. So equation 3 is y equals to 4 minus 2x, which is equals to 4 minus 2 into 3. So we now have 4 minus 6. So 4 minus 6 is minus 2. So this is the first value of y. Then the second value of y, that is when s is 9 over 5, can also put s equals to 9 over 5 in equation 3 as well. So equation 3 is still y equals to 4 minus 2x, so which is 4 minus 2 into 9 over 5. So we have 4 minus 18 all over 5. So the SCM is 5. So 5 and 5, 1 and 5, 5. 5 times 4, that's 20. Minus 5 and 5, 1. 1 times 18, 18. So which is 2 over 5. So you can now see, so to summarize our answer, that is, when x is 3, y is minus 2. And when x is 9 over 5, y is 2 over 5. So this is the solution to question number 2. So thank you. If you find any of this video interesting, please subscribe to the channel.